So the big thing is listening to your body, especially with this practice. It's going to be a stronger, more dynamic practice than the previous classes I've taken. So first of all, we'll warm up the body. If you're joining me live this morning at 6 a.m, might have just woken up, still getting moving in the body, the muscles, the tissues. So we'll bring in a gentle flow to begin, just to warm that up. And always coming back to listening to your body. So we're going to have a strength focus this morning. My golden rule, I think the golden rule for all yoga classes is to listen to the body, adjust, modify, personalize your practice in any way that you would like. I'll go through some modifications of exercises. I've mentioned this before, but anyone new, so I have to watch my blood pressure. Any downward facing dogs, I take my modification of downward puppy. It's something I do for every practice. So don't hesitate to listen in. And if you need to take any of those modifications, if you need to personalize your practice at any time, do it. So otherwise, I think that's everything. Otherwise, yep, mind blanking. So as soon as that camera goes on, let's get into our Shavasana. We'll get started laying down, making ourselves as comfortable as possible. Even if that's not Shavasana, any other posture that we just feel most restorative in. Allowing ourselves to take this rest. We might have just gotten out of bed, rolled out our mat. It's time to come back to laying down and just checking in with ourselves. In these early mornings, noticing what's tight. I always find that for myself, my hamstrings. So in the mornings, my hamstrings are incredibly tight. So just checking in with any of those areas that we might have, if we've slept a little funny, or whether it's just little postural things that we have ongoing. Just checking in, making note, and listening to them for our practice this morning. If it's those areas that we need to take care of a little bit more, or move a little bit slower through. Just allowing ourselves to melt a little further into the mat. As we bring our awareness into the breath, feeling each inhale draw deep into the belly, spreading up to the chest so that we're feeling those collarbones widen at the top. And then releasing from the chest, down and out the belly. Scanning ourselves from head to toe for any tension that we can let go of. Anywhere that's feeling tight, anywhere that we're consciously or unconsciously tensing. Each exhale is an opportunity just to dissolve that out a little further. Add a little wriggle to the fingers and toes. And drawing our knees in towards the chest. So if we're not in a laying position already, coming to our backs. Tucking these knees in nice and tight, a little sway left and right. Checking in the hips, the lower back. And then coming back to center, taking hip circles, bringing the knees together, both hands to the knees. Taking them around in one direction. They can be small circles or big circles. We can grow them out. We can change their size. And just moving at a speed that's most comfortable for our lower back, our hips, and changing directions. And then coming back to center, taking the hands to the knees, we're going to draw the knees a little closer in towards the chest, and then taking them out nice and wide away from each other, down towards the back of our mat, and back towards each other in the center. So we're taking these butterfly circles now, opening up through the hips. And then changing directions. And just listening in, checking in, noticing where we're most tight or most restricted through our movement. And then coming back to center. Starting our rock and roll, so tucking in tight into our ball, using this momentum to bring ourselves up to seated, either cross-legged or whatever's most comfy here. Lengthening nice and tall. On an inhale, we'll open the chest up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, tucking that chin to chest, rounding through the spine. Inhale, open. So we're warming up through these vertebrae. Exhale, tucking under. Just moving with this breath. So taking these gentle, dynamic stretches, warming up this morning. Taking one more round of breath. And then inhale, sitting up nice and tall, reaching these hands up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, this right hand placing to the mat, reaching those left fingertips over. As we inhale, coming back up through center. Exhale, opposite side, keeping this chest open. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reaching across. Continuing this movement. And then on this side, we're going to take an extra breath in here. As we exhale, sweeping the fingertips around in front of us, painting semicircles. Inhale, opening. Exhale, back down and around. So we're getting this gentle rotation through the lower back. Again, moving with that breath. Full inhales as we open. And nice long exhales as we brush those fingertips around in front. On this inhale, we're going to reach both hands all the way up nice and tall again. This left hand coming to the right knee, our right hand coming behind the body. As we inhale, we're lengthening tall through the crown of the head. As we exhale, coming a little deeper into our twist if that feels comfortable. So that gaze could either be out to the side or towards over that back shoulder. Take another in-breath here. Exhale, returning back through center. Inhale, hands rise. Exhale, opposite side. Inhale to lift, creating that space. Exhale, opening into our twist. Another deep belly inhale. Exhale, back through center, walking these hands forwards, coming into our tabletop position. So we're spreading fingers wide, knees are underneath the hips. We've got two options. We can take our cat-cow. So we can inhale, opening that chest towards the front of the mat. As we exhale, tucking that tailbone under. So either taking this option, continuing to move through that cat-cow, or we can bring our big toes together, taking our breath in at the top. As we exhale, lowering those hips to heels. As we inhale, keeping the chest low to the ground, drawing ourselves forward and pressing our way up, opening either to cobra or upward facing dog. So exhale, hips back to heels. Inhale, drawing ourselves forward, keeping those elbows in close. Pressing strong, opening up through the chest and relaxing the shoulders. We don't want to have that shrugging up of the shoulders towards the ears, so lift through the crown of the head. Again, continuing this movement in time with our own breath. Taking one more round, and we're going to finish holding our next back bend, so either our cobra or upward facing dog. Taking a few breaths in here. So again, so we're pressing strong through the palms. If we're feeling shrugged, imagine we've got that puppet string out of the crown of the head, lifting us tall, and then tucking our toes under, coming into our downward facing dog. This is where I get nice and tight in the mornings, the hamstrings. If you'd like to pedal that out, we can. So I'm going to drop into my downward puppy. Any modifications that you'd like. If we're walking out the dog here, just alternating, bending one knee, then the other, getting that lengthening along the backs of the legs. Continuing to lift tall through those sit bones. Letting that head hang heavy, little nod, yes or no, making sure we're not holding that head up in any way. And then gazing forwards with as many steps as we'd like, walking these feet to the front of our mat, coming into our ragdoll. So we can bend those knees as much as we'd like, resting the tummy to the thighs, taking those hands to opposite elbows, adding our little sway side to side. And returning back to center, releasing those fingertips to the mat. We're going to inhale a half lift. So we're lengthening, flattening through the back, keeping those shoulders relaxed. Exhale, forward fold. Again, inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding forwards. One more time, inhale. Exhale, fold. Reversing our dive, so pressing through those feet, we're going to inhale, rising up, lengthening up the sides of the body. As we exhale, folding forwards, keeping that chest open. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reversing, lifting all the way tall, lengthening through those fingertips. This time we're going to exhale, opening through the heart, adding that little back bend. Inhale, rise. Exhale, dive. Inhale, half lift. Hands to mat, high plank, stepping back, toes or knees here. So we're going to hold for a few breaths in our plank position. Bringing those shoulders over the palms, fingers spread wide. We're pressing those palms into the mat, so we're getting rid of any air pockets. That core is engaged, that belly button hugging into spine. Lengthening through the heels. Check in with that breath, that we've still got our full deep inhales and exhales here. Taking one more breath in at the top. Exhale, lowering ourselves down, gently, steadily. And then inhaling to our cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here on our in-breath, we're going to come back to our high plank, bringing that chest forward. Shoulders over palms. Option to have those knees to the mat if that's more comfortable. Inhale here, core engaged. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, open. Exhale, downward dog. This time gazing forwards, bend the knees, step or hop, feet to front. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Reversing our dive, inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, diving straight back over. Inhale, half lift. Hands to mat, high plank, step or hop. Taking a single breath in at the top, core engaged, exhale, chaturanga. Opening to our back bend. Downward facing dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Inhale, high plank. This time we're going to hold it. I'm going to run through a little demo so we can be on toes or knees here. Whichever option we like. On our exhale, we're going to lower ourselves down just as far as comfortable so that on our inhale we can push ourselves back up. Beautiful. One more time. So exhale, lower. Inhale, big push up. Downward facing dog. Beautiful. Maybe pedal it out a little bit here. That lengthening one side to the other. And then inhaling high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, open. Exhale, downward dog. And let's lower those knees to the mat, coming into our child's pose. So those toes, we can bring them together, knees together or apart. Hips back to heels, and just taking this full rest. Checking in with the shoulders and the arms, any residual tension that we're holding on to, just letting it relax out. Alright, on our next inhale, coming back up to our tabletop position. Tucking toes, downward facing dog. Walking our hands back to the feet, so we're going to ground through the heels at the back of our mats. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise tall. Adding our back bend at the top this time. Whoop, hit my fan. Open heart. Inhale, lift. Exhale, dive. Got to watch out for that one. Half lift. Hands to mat, high plank. So this time we're walking forwards. Okay, 3 chaturangas, reverse chaturangas. So get that core engaged, taking our breath at the top. Exhale, lower again, just down as far as comfortable. Inhale, pressing up, keeping that core engaged. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press. One last time, exhale. Inhale, big push up. This time as we exhale, all the way down. Coming into our back bend on our in-breath. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left heel to sky. As we step it through, coming into our crescent lunge. So placing that left foot to the front of our mat, framing that front foot, bringing those fingertips up towards the ceiling. And deepening into our lunge. So just checking in these hip flexors. We're lowering through the hips here. Nice and strong through both legs. A little bit longer through these arms, the fingertips. Taking a breath in here. As we exhale, we're going to gaze over this left leg, lengthening through the fingertips. As we inhale, coming tall. Exhale, opposite side. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. One more time, inhale, rising up. Exhale, opposite side. Holding here, we're going to ground this back foot, coming into our warrior two, palms face the floor. Gazing over that front middle finger. Maybe lowering into our lunge a little bit further. Just keeping this torso nice and tall. And then on our in-breath, we're going to lengthen this front leg. Exhale, bending, lowering into our lunge a little further. Inhale, long. Exhale, lower. So we're just warming up these quads. Inhale, lift. Exhale, deepen. Holding here, flip the front palm. Inhale, reverse our warrior. Exhale, windmill the arms, frame the front foot, stepping back, high plank. Core engage. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale, right heel to sky. Stepping through, crescent lunge. Take our time here, get set. And when we're ready, lengthening up through the sides of the body. Setting that gaze on one still point out in front. See if we can deepen a little lower, feeling it through that left hip flexor. Deep breaths. Strong legs. Taking our inhale here. Exhale to twist, lengthening through the fingertips. Inhale, rise. Exhale, open side. So a little balance. Inhale, keeping this chest open. Exhale to twist. One more time, inhale. Exhale, opening this side, grounding through that back foot. Just checking the alignment, this right knee is tracking over that right heel, palms face the mat. Maybe deepening a little into our lunge. And then inhale, lengthening through this front leg. Exhale, deepening again, just making sure it's tracking nice and straight. Inhale. Exhale. How are our shoulders feeling as well? Holding these arms up after our push-ups, continuing this flow with our breath. This is when I wish I didn't have to close my door for the sound. I would really love a nice cool breeze at the moment. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen. Holding here. Flip the front palm. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, windmill the arms. Frame the foot. Stepping back, high plank. Take our breath. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, open. Exhale, down dog. And lowering those knees to mat. Coming down for our child's pose. Little breather here. And checking in with the breath. When we're moving more dynamically, just notice the rate, the volume of air that we take in. On our in-breath, tabletop. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, high plank. So toes or knees just as low as we're comfortable with. On that exhale, lowering down. Inhale, big push up. Exhale, lower. Two more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, deepen. One last one, big push up. Exhaling all the way down, we're going to lower ourselves to this mat, untucking the toes, taking our right arm out to the side. I'm going to have to make a bit more room for myself. So keeping this left palm underneath the left armpit, right arm comes out at about 45 degrees, a little bend in the elbow. Just resting the head to the mat, keeping this right shoulder low to the floor, pressing through that left palm, coming into a chest stretch. So getting this opening down that right side pec. So that head's resting comfortably. Bit of strengthen through the chest. Now just taking this little stretch out. And releasing back through center. Opposite side, so bringing that right hand in underneath the armpit. Left arm out again, taking that 45, we'll roughly bend through the elbow and peeling ourselves open. So every skeleton is different. We need to make a little movement through that arm or a little bit different placement. But we want to feel that stretch through the left side of our chest. And returning our way back to center. Both palms underneath the armpits, tucking those toes or knees. Reverse chaturanga, so inhale as we press up. Exhale, downward facing dog. I'm going to take a little shuffle forwards here. And maybe a pedal out, maybe some movement through the hips. And inhale, gaze forwards, bend the knees, step or hop, feet to front of mat. Inhale, our half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise tall, press through the soles of the feet, lengthening all the way tall. Exhale, diving over. Half lift. High plank, stepping or hopping. Soft with those feet, take our breath in. Exhale, lower. Opening on that in-breath. downward facing dog. Inhale, left heel to sky, stepping through crescent lunge. Rising up through those fingertips. Then taking hands to the hips. Check in that we're nice, strong and stable through the legs here. Opening through the chest, nice and tall through the torso. Take a breath in at the top. Exhale, lowering down into our lunge. Inhale, tall. Exhale, lower. So little lunges here, moving in time with our breath. So inhale as we rise, exhale as we deepen. One more time, so exhale, lowering down. Inhale, coming tall, lifting up through the arms. Exhale, frame the foot, stepping back, high plank. Take our breath. Exhale, lower, moving through our flow. In our own time, again, any modifications. Finding our way back to down dog. Inhale, right heel to sky. Stepping through crescent lunge. So again, stabilizing, checking in, rising tall. Settling here, maybe deepening a little through the hips, but keeping this chest open, shoulders relaxed. Hands to hips. Breath in. Core engaged as we exhale, deepen into our lunge. This is our movement. Starting to sweat now. Could be to do with the lack of airflow, but also I'm puffed. Talking doesn't help. So with these as well, we're only lowering down as far as comfortable. I never actually count how many I do on each side, so once we've done roughly the same, we'll go back into our flow. Good morning, quads. One more time. Inhale, lifting up, lengthening arms. Exhale, frame foot, step back, high plank. Take our flow. Remembering we can always add in a double chaturanga if we'd like. I'll leave that up to you. From our downward dog, lowering those knees to mat. Big toes to touch, hips to heels, child's pose. Coming back to this rest. Maybe a little excess tension, residual sensation through the quads, just feeling that soften out. Consciously feeling those muscle fibers just loosening and lengthening, seeing if we can work our way from head to toe. Checking in with each body part. Should feel like a little bit more of ourselves is melting into the floor. From here we're going to inhale back to all fours. We're going to come to lay down on our mat, so we're going to lower our chest towards the floor. We're going to place the tops of the toes pressing into the mat so that the knees come off the floor. We're going to rest our forehead to the floor, our mat, front of our mat, interlacing the fingers behind the head, resting the elbows down by the sides. So we're going to press those tops of the feet into the floor so those knees lift off the mat. Belly button drawn in, hugged in towards the spine. On an inhale, we're going to take elbows up and forehead up, and then forehead down, elbows down. So inhale as we lift and open, and exhale to lower. So we're engaging the muscles of our upper back. We're feeling those shoulder blades drawing a little bit closer towards each other. Keeping those shoulders drawn back, so we don't want them hunching up. So relax them down. One more round, inhale, open. Exhale, lowering down, releasing those hands underneath the armpits, pressing up, inhale, reverse chaturanga. Exhale, lowering. Inhale, open, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Opening through the heart. Downward facing dog. Gaze forwards, bend the knees, step or hop, feet to front, half lift. Folding forwards. Reverse the dive, reaching tall. Adding our back bend this time. Little opening through the heart. Inhale to lift. Exhale, fold. Half lift. High plank, stepping or hopping. Remember, soft with those feet. Exhale, lower. Opening. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left heel to sky. Stepping through crescent lunge. Taking our time again. This time we're going to take our hands to heart center. Pressing off our back foot, coming into our warrior three. So we're lifting that right heel towards the sky, toes drawn back towards the chest. Not sure if I'm still in frame, I'll shuffle back a bit. Holding our balance here. We're going to move into our core a little further. Actually, we might start with some more quads and glutes. So keeping this chest open, again that crown of the head, our puppet string. Take a breath in. As we exhale, option to bend through this left knee, bringing the right knee towards the calf. Inhale, lift tall, lengthen. Exhale, lowering down. Keeping strong and stable, moving with that breath. Should be nice and warm through that left glute right now. One more using that inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lowering that back foot to the mat. Crescent lunge, inhale, hands rise. Exhale, frame the foot. Taking our flow in our own time. Returning back to our downward facing dog. Inhale, right heel to sky. Exhale, stepping through. Check in, stable through the hips, lifting tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. Pressing off that back foot, warrior three. If we've got a wall at the house, or maybe a chair beside us, we can use that for balance if we need to. Stabilizing, take that breath in. Exhale, option to bend the knee, that left knee coming to calf. Inhale, tall. Exhale, lower. This is our flow. Check in with that breath, nice and smooth, which again is harder to do when you're talking. See if we can bring that knee a little bit lower to the calf each time. Should be feeling it through that right glute. One more time, I think that's about enough. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, lowering that left foot to mat. Stabilizing here, inhale, rise. Exhale, frame. Taking our flow. Again, if you'd like to add in any chaturangas, that's your choice of challenge. From our downward dog, let's take our child's pose, give these legs a rest. Just taking 3 more deep breaths in here. Now our in-breath coming into our high plank. So this is from toes or knees. Core hugging in nice and tight, so we're nice and long through the lower back. And then we're going to lower down into our dolphin plank, taking our forearms to the mat. So toes or knees, remember we've got the option to move in and out of that at any time. And then pressing our way back up to high plank. And lowering ourselves back down to low. So inhale, pressing up. Exhale, lowering down. Keeping these shoulders and hips as square as we can. If we need to, we can widen our stance to bring ourselves a little bit more stable. If you like the extra challenge, bring those feet a little closer together. That core is always working. One more time. Taking a breath in at the top, exhaling downward dog. A few little breaths here. Option to take our downward puppy or child's pose. And then gazing forward, bend those knees, stepping or hopping, feet to front, half lift. Exhale, hands to mat, stepping our right foot back, lowering that knee to floor, coming into our low lunge. So take a little stretch out here. If we're happy in our lunge, we can stay with these hands framed. We can rest the hands to the thigh. If we'd like to get a little further into this quad and hip flexor, taking this left hand around behind, thumb facing the ceiling, drawing that heel in towards the hip. Checking in with that breath. So on those exhales, maybe deepening a little lower through these hips. And then lowering this back foot if we've taken hold, lengthening into our hamstring fold, so taking this left leg nice and long. So long means it can still be bent or it can be straight, whatever's comfy. Taking the fold from our hips, so we're hinging forwards, that belly button towards the thigh. Getting this lengthening down this left hamstring. And then returning back to our lunge position, tucking those back toes under, pressing up the front of our mat into our fold. We'll inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to mat, opposite foot back this time, so left foot back, lowering that knee to mat. Taking our lunge option here. So again, either hands resting, or we can take that left palm for support, bringing that right hand around, taking the outside of the foot, drawing that heel in towards the hip. Releasing that back foot if we've taken hold, lengthening through this front leg. So taking a breath in, maybe finding a little extra length in this upper body as we exhale, folding forwards. Again, we're leading with that belly button. We're not worried about the head or chest. We don't want to bring that excessive hunching position into the upper back. And bending through this front knee. Taking this lunge position, tucking those back toes under, pressing or stepping forwards into our fold. We'll inhale, half lift. Exhale, folding forwards, just hanging into the hamstrings a little here. If we'd like to take our ragdoll, sway left and right, we can, but just letting that upper body fold completely over the hips. Back to center, we'll inhale a half lift. As we exhale, folding forwards, taking our gorilla pose, sliding the palms of the feet underneath palms of the hands under the soles of the feet. So from here, bending those knees as much as we need to. If we've got that tightness through the lower back, add a further bend. If we're comfortable here, we can start to lengthen through the back of the legs, getting that lengthening through the hamstrings. And then releasing those palms from underneath the feet. Inhale, half lift. Hands to mat, stepping or hopping back. Let's take our flow. Inhaling, left heel to sky, coming into our pigeon pose. So left foot towards the right wrist. Coming into that pigeon, remember we've got our alternative of our thread the needle. So if we're holding our pigeon, we can come down to rest into it. Lowering that right hip a little further to the mat. If we're taking our alternative, if we're tight through hips or knees, if we've got injuries, take our thread the needle, laying on the back, threading our left arm through, interlacing fingers, drawing that right thigh in towards the chest. So, whichever suits us best this morning. And then making our way out. We're going to move into our opposite side. So we can just change over from one to the other. If we'd like to take a flow in between the two, we can. If we're after that little bit extra movement this morning, if we're enjoying this dynamic stretch, whatever our options, we're finding our way into either our pigeon or our thread the needle on this opposite side. Get ourselves settled, check in, hips are square, left side hip low this time. We can ease our way down. So we're not exerting, we're not strengthening, we're just relaxing as much as we can into this pose. The less we do here, the more benefit we get. Gravity's working for us. This time we're coming into our downward dog, so if we've taken our thread the needle, we can take our fetal position and press our way up. We're taking our pigeon, coming directly back to down dog, we're taking this flow. Plenty of vinyasas this morning, or optional plenty of vinyasas this morning. Coming back to that down dog, lifting through those sit bones. Gazing forwards, bend the knees, step or hopping the feet outside the hands. So coming into our yogi squat. If you can ground through the heels, mine don't quite touch. So if they're elevated, leave them elevated. We're taking those elbows to the insides of the thighs, coming into our yogi squat. We can press the palms in firm, or deepen a little by pressing those fingertips into each other, opening up a little further through the hips. Option to hold here if we like to take our crow this morning. I'm going to shuffle back a little bit. We can take the palms of the hands to either the mat or the floor out in front of us. If you've got pillows or blankets that you'd like to lay in front of you as well, if you're just trying out the crow pose, if you're not quite confident in your balance, you can have that there for support. Taking our crow, spreading the fingers wide, lifting through the sit bones, taking those knees into nice and tall, nice and high, up into the upper arms. And we can either have a play with transferring that body weight, if you're just introducing that strengthening into the arms. We can either alternate one foot off, then the other, or we can bring both toes to touch, setting our gaze on the floor out in front. So just holding here, remember we've got our option to take our yogi squat if we're holding this. If we're taking our crow, don't forget to breathe. Notice the breath. If it's starting to shallow, see if we can introduce that deep inhale to the belly. Likewise, if we're here in yogi squat, if we're feeling that breath come more into the chest, see if we can extend it down a little bit longer. We've taken our crow, we can make our way back to our yogi squat, grounding through those feet. And then either taking one or both hands behind us, lowering those hips, lowering the bum to the floor, bringing those feet out in front. So coming into our boat pose. Now open up through the chest, lengthening the fingertips towards the front of the room. We can stay grounded through the feet or elevating, heels in line with the knees. Take another breath in, open through the chest, relax the shoulders. Cores in nice and tight, taking a breath in. Exhale, lowering down. Option to use those hands for support at any time, but just slowly, steadily, easing our way down. Till we come all the way to rest. And drawing those knees into the chest. Squeeze in, nice and tight for a bear hug. Little sway left and right here. And coming back to center, lengthening our left leg nice and long. Taking this right knee across the body into our twist. We can extend that right arm out. And option to bring that gaze over the right fingertips. So getting this nice opening, this rotation all the way down through the body now. On those inhales, we're opening the chest. Exhales, softening across that right leg. And returning back through center. Drawing that left knee in, so tucking into our ball nice and tight. Right leg long this time. And taking that left knee across. So once again, we've got that option to bring that gaze out over the left fingertips if it's comfortable for the neck, keeping this left shoulder and shoulder blade to the mat. So if we're peeling open, don't take that leg over as far. Coming back to middle. Curling into our ball, drawing those knees in, maybe a little circle or sway side to side here, check in. And then lowering those feet to the floor. So option here, we can come into our reclined bound angle, Supta Baddha Konasana, taking those or opening those knees out like a book, soles of feet together. If there's anything else that we'd like to take before our Shavasana, now's our time to do it. Maybe a few reverse chaturangas. Sarah, I'm sure you'd be keen for those. If we're taking this reclined bound angle, we can just rest the arms however's comfortable. If you'd like to take one palm to the tummy, one to the chest, and check in on that breath, or bring our focus into the breath, we can. Otherwise, resting them beside, or we can take them up overhead, hands to opposite elbows. Whatever position we're in, whatever pose we've taken, making our way into our Shavasana. If we're coming from our reclined butterfly, we can draw those knees in. Lengthening legs out long. Extending through the arms, the fingertips. If we've got anything that we'd like to place over the eyes, if it's a shirt or a pillow or blanket, otherwise resting those eyelids down, checking in to anything else that we're still holding on to, especially in these stronger sequences, stronger practices, any residual tension, anything that we can just let go of, feeling it dissolve out of the body. Muscles and tissues loosening and lengthening as we just melt into putty into the floor. As comfortable as we can be, taking these last few minutes of complete rest. Start to bring our awareness back into the breath. The volume of air that we're taking in and out. This comfortable rhythm that the body naturally comes to. As we add our wriggle through fingers and toes. On an inhale, reaching arms up overhead, lengthening out through the entire body. And then rolling to one side. Pressing our way up to a seated position. Sitting tall, use that breath into the length and up through the spine. Hands to heart center. Our check-in, post-practice, our moment to be grateful to ourselves for getting up a little earlier for our 6 a.m. practice to get this body moving, to bring in this warmth. But also for challenging ourselves this morning. So our yoga is not all just stretching and relaxation. There's a need for both yin and yang in our lives. Ease and challenge. But when we challenge ourselves, or we find ourselves being challenged, whether it's on the mat or in our day-to-day life, we can learn to approach it with a little bit more ease and a little less seriousness. As we bow our heads to our hands, we honor ourselves and each other with Namaste. Namaste, yogis. Thank you for joining me in this time of coronavirus isolation. So it's good to start the mornings with this warm-up practice to get moving, especially if we're not spending a lot of our day outdoors or moving around at work if we're working from home or just stuck indoors, maybe with kids. But thank you very much for joining me for this practice this morning, either live or on a replay, and I hope to see you all on the mat again soon. Thank you. Oh, time for a shower and coffee.